Hello, everybody. I'm live. Okay, go live. Anyway, oops. Kelly's having trouble with getting on the live stream. She was sending it out on her channel too. I don't know what's going on. It so I'll have to check with them after we're off the air. But anyway, today I want to show you my Halloween outfit. They missed one in 1692. This I've got to wear. It's a long, long, long monk's robe, and I got it to wear to a Halloween party I'm reading at. And what I'm going to do is start running through the questions. I hope Kelly gets on. Um, she sent me a note. She said, okay. Okay. Let me see if I can fix this thing in settings. Yes. It says guests can stream and you're not banned. So I don't know what's going on, but it's on. It's up. Anyway, so that's all the backstage stuff, folks. I'm really glad to see all of you here. It's kind of a rough day, I think, for a lot of people if you're in touch with the energies. And we always knew that, well, in particular, I think Dorothy Morgan and I talked about this when we were trying to figure out the election dates for my tarot classes. We looked at every day in October, and this has been just an incredibly difficult months between all the major planets that are clashing with each other. And the next day, they get a nice trine that gives us a boost, then they get another square. So I'm hoping it's not hitting you quite the way it's hitting me. Last night, I slept for 8.5 hours, thank God, because I've had an ear infection since Saturday. And I knew exactly what it was when it started because I had really, really, really hideous, bad ear infections as a child. One was so bad that I actually broke my eardrum. The pressure inside my ear broke it. And when I was in science class, you know how everybody takes a little stethoscope and looks in each other's ear. I was always the star of the class because I had this nasty scar running down my right eardrum. And that's the one that blocked up. And I'm doing things to fix it. I'm sure it will get better. But I was told, you know, if you've ever heard me talk about the chariot card in tarot, your dominant side is your doing side, and your receiving side is your lesser side, the one that you don't use dominantly. And my dominant side is my right hand. And so my right ear is my dominant ear. And it's interesting that the only ear that I can hear from right now effectively is my left ear. And it's very disorienting. But I don't have to hear from you since everybody wrote their questions. And we're going to start on the table, and I'm going to pick from a new deck I got. I always get myself a deck when I'm going to go read a party in honor of the party. And I'm going to switch cameras so you can come over there and see. And let's see, camera. Okay, we're on my table. Yay! We can see my table. And I hope Kelly does show up. And if she doesn't, we move on. Okay, and this is the Witching Hour, is the new tarot deck I got. And I saw it about a month ago because they were selling signed copies from the author. And I like to have signed copies from the author. And so I got this, and this is by Lorraine Anderson. And it says, Awaken Your Inner Magic. And I was using a little bit yesterday with Dr. Gail when we were doing, oh God, I'm blanked. I'm doing past lives now. So we were doing, 12-month readings, which I'm going to start in December. And it's on my website, so you can go find it there. And for this Witching Hour, we got Deep Being, Self-Love and Acceptance. And I think that's just a perfect card for right now. And when I have a new deck, I always use they send you a little book. I always read my little books. And this is towards the end, and it goes, keywords for Deep Being, self-love and acceptance, ownership of your own uniqueness and your self sovereignty, rejoice. You have received this card. It is because you have found or at very near to finding the light at the end of the tunnel. You have done the work required and have met and overcome your challenges. As a result, you are coming into your own period of deep awareness, self-love, self-sovereignty, and understanding. And that fits exactly with where since I pulled the card, I get to claim it. I am. This solar eclipse is on top of my natal sun, and Jupiter is also on top of my natal sun. The planets are just having a party over in Taurus right now, and that's where my natal sun is. Also my Mars and my Venus. So that's where we go. So let's get to everybody's questions. If I have time at the end, I will go back. I had 12 questions this morning, but I'm going to run them through the ones we have. And this is from Ronnie. I want to have a card for whatever's coming towards me. She's been the dark night of soul lately. So because she just wants a card about what's coming towards her, I'm going to go back to the witching hour and see where we can get with that. And these are really heavy duty cards, guys. These are so heavy. They're really hard to shuffle when you first get them. They're solid. They're cards. They're beyond cardstock cards. They're really nice. And the illustrations in them are really nice. And for Roni, we got Forgotten Ghosts. And this is about a reunion that you're going to be going through. And at 2724. This is a good book, too, because the cards are in numerical order, which is nice. You can look them up in the book real easy. It says, Forgotten Ghosts, reunion, unfinished business, unexpected visitor. A ghost doesn't always have to be scary or sad. It can be a joy to reunite with something or someone that comes out of your past. If you have left things, even if you had left things in a dreadful, disagreeable, or regrettable situation, you may run into a former friend, realize your falling out was immature, and you're both ready to move on. Or perhaps you picked up an old notebook and was reconciled with some goals you'd completely forgotten about and would really like to have a chance to work on it again. So perhaps the circumstances aren't right before you, but now you're in both a different place and ready to give love a second chance. So that sounds like fun. It sounds like you're coming to a point where you're going to reconcile with something. I don't know if any of you have ever done that, but I met my first ghost when I was touring Europe in a hotel. And I was touring at the age of 17, and my mother had given me a diary, and I wrote in it every day. And 6 years ago, I found the diary in my stuff, and I had written quite vividly about the awakening, the psychic awakening I had from meeting this ghost. So maybe you're going to find something fun like that, because what I ended up doing was a friend that was on the trip with me, I ended up typing the whole diary up for her and sending her a copy because she had lost her diary, and she was very upset about that. So witching hour goes away. We're out of those questions now. Hide. Next question. It comes from LCN 325. I don't know what those numbers are. They sound like prison numbers. Anyway, she would like a past life reading. And what I'm going to do is the Spirit 7, which is the quickie past life reading. When I teach my tarot classes, it's the first one I teach them to work with. And then I have another reading. If you do a long life reading with me, it takes an hour or more, and I lay out other cards in different configurations to dig in to the life we're going to see now. But what we're going to do for you right now, LCN, is look at this past life. This is the life you're in now. This is the life you lived. Ooh, this one's much better. And this is kind of where you are in reconciling the two forces. In the past life, you followed what others told you to do. You're in the Middle Ages. You got caught up with some sort of bad people and you ended up, oh, you can't see them, okay. And you ended up outside. This is in traditional tarot, this card is the card where the people are walking past the church. You ended up destitute in this life. It's a very difficult one for you. And in this life, it's because of what you learn from that, you don't fall into illusions and delusions much. You're working actively, you understand. You have to assume your own life's power. You haven't found your partner yet to do that with. And so at times you can be a little bit sharp and can lash out at people. This past life reading is where you are right now. I'm going to see what the culmination is going to be for this. Okay. You're not going to regain the strength you really need until you separate from the people that you hang on to people instead of letting them go. And you have to understand everything isn't based on the romantic view of love and light, but it will come to you when you turn this card around and turn yourself into your more spiritual nature, because that will help with your magician situation. You were caught in a very desperate time. I think you were surrounded by a lot of very desperate people in this life, and that's why when things start sliding away from you, you really panic because you remember how destitute you ended up in that life, even though you followed all the rules. But now that you know that, when you feel desperate, you can call upon him. Where is he? No. You have innately in your soul to be the magician, as above, so below, to make your own future. And we'll see how that works out for you. But I really think we're all going through a lot of the dark night of the soul. We knew it was going to be tough going through these eclipses. We have another round coming in the spring, and they're all falling. Well, the solar eclipse fell. Yeah, when the moon blocked the sun. I sat in my front porch and watched it this last time on a Saturday morning, and it was really interesting. And it was amazing. I had amazing visions while I was watching it. That's another show, though. Now, who would name their kid Bathrobe? Really? But he wants to play. Who was Bathrobe? Hi, Danny. I see you hiding behind that bathrobe. Okay. Let's see what we can see about Bathrobe. He wants to play. Oh, this is really good for this life, and you are obtaining your own power. Yeah, I've done past lives for Danny before. I know a little bit about him. This card for me, I read reverses, but for me, the 10 of Cups is a great happy card, whether it's upside down or right side up. If it's right side up, it's really, really a sunny card, but it's still great when it's here. In your past life, you actually did beat the devil. You didn't tie yourself to materialism, stress, overwork, or overlove. This life, you didn't do that. You freed yourself from being trapped with those things. And you did it by figuring out how to make things balance. So that life actually is carried into this life very much for you. This is a bright, enterprising person who is good and skilled at what they're growing and making things happen. There are still parts of your own spiritual life that you have some questions about that you're working on. But man, you'll go down any path to get there. You'll try, you'll look at everything, every possibility. And that's right now, it's a very fulfilling place for you to be. But in that life, let's see, I'm trying to figure out a time for you. You were a Native American in this time, and you adapted to the changing times. I think you may have been Danny and I've discussed this before, but I think he may have been in the tribes during the changing times in Chaco Canyon. I actually saw a vision when I read your question. Chaco Canyon came to my head. And in that, you didn't try to balance things. When it said get the hell out, you got the hell out. And you didn't get too tied to that place. And you're right. And I know you're thinking about going back there. I would think if I had been there at the demise of Chaco Canyon, I'd have second thoughts about going back. But I wasn't. I was in Ireland when things were on fire. So this is where I see you. I really see this as what we've seen before. And that's why you go to the shamanism and to that spiritual lessons, because they're closer to your heart. But this is Danny Shea, the King of Wands, the person who can pull it all together. So thank you for asking, Danny. Summer Bird 8. Hello, Nancy. Would you please have a card to find out if I'm moving to another place this year? Thank you kindly. Well, that's kind of a yes/no question, so I'm going to read it that way. I don't know that your past life's going to tell you much about that, but okay. You want to very much, but it doesn't say it's more your desire than what's going on. You don't like the rules and regulations around where you live, but you're also not delusional that you're going to move to a place you can't afford to be. And actually, you can't meet your goals there. You have to get your goals more tightly together and exactly where you want your soul to go. And that's either this, when you say another place, you could mean from the structure you're physically in or to like a whole nother destination. This says you're not moving. And the reason now you could move because, we all have free will. What it says you need to change is some of how I would leave that one alone because you're seeing the world there. But what do you have about your goals? Oh, okay. This answers this question. You haven't figured out how to put the questions all together and how this guy has all the right rods, but he doesn't have them together. And that's emotionally draining for you to live in that. But you are going to get some information this year that means that you could move. So we're going to look at your Knight of Wands. What's wrong with him? It's not your time. You want to go to a place where you can really function and do well. And you're still tied to, you're trying to make a geographic cure. If I move from here, all my problems are going to go away. Well, not if you stay in the Five of Cups. So I would say your move is in late 2024 or early to mid 2025. And that's when you've got some of the problems you're dealing with right now are inside of you are more settled. Okay. Priscilla. Zacchaeus, I think. If my pronunciation's wrong, I apologize. But the Priscilla part I got. Okay. Let's see. Priscilla for a past life reading. And I'm not using the Oracle Garden today because that requires a lot of concentration using a pendulum. And I'm much faster with cards. And I'm not physically really ready to deal with pendulum today. It's part of learning what you do is can you do today? Priscilla, where you are right now. Well, you're getting ready to get some coins in this life. Where you were. Oh, you were the queen of coins at one time. Well, whatever's going to happen around you this year is going to be wonderful because it's got the sun flat in the middle. In this life, you were wealthy. That's why you do handle money well. You got misled by some people, and you had a sharp-tongued, dark-haired woman who kind of tried to get the money away from you, but I don't think she did. But so you come into this life very wary of close relationships with people because you got ripped off before. This is you in this life, you have not done all the things you could have done to protect your finances, to protect your ability to grow, but you're doing it right now. So yay. you're not going to let yourself get ripped off, or even let those people around you. And you're going to have the sun. The sun is the best card in the deck, right side up, upside down. That's the one that does it. So you're in good stead with that. Okay. Oh. Okay. Now we go to this charming person. Silky Pink Rose. Oh, please have past life reading. Does my artwork style have anything to do with my past lifetime? What should I be doing, or should I be doing it differently? Okay. We're going to look at that past life that you feel is inspiring your artwork. And I'm going to tell you about it. Artists in a past life. The last life I had before this one, I was killed in a bombing in London. And I was a Polish artist that had moved to England because she realized her life was in danger in Poland. And she ended up trapped in England. She couldn't get to the United States where she had family. Trust me, I've spent years of working with different psychics to see all about her, because she came in as a twin soul to me. I don't know if many of you know this concept, but she died. Her death was an accident. I know they always say deaths aren't an accident. Hers was. And she died in a building in a bombing in England, and which had a whole lot to do with me as a kid being terrified of air raid sirens. And when I was a kid, I painted watercolors so well. And I mean a kid, 5th, 6th, 7th grade. I was painting watercolors that people would pay hundreds of dollars for. And, they would like proclaiming I was a prodigy. And then one day I just put the paints down. I said, I'm done painting. And my mom said, are you sure? Because you do it so well. And I said, yeah, I went more into theater. And at the base of all that was that I have one of the paintings I painted in that period that was in my father's office. And when he died, my siblings gave it to me. And so I can see what I used to do. And recently I've picked the paintbrushes up again. I'm getting curious about doing it again. But finally, one day when I was in my early 20s, these angels came and they surrounded my bed and they said, it's time for you to come home. And that's when the woman would have died, because she was in her early 20s and in the 40s. And so she didn't interfere in my life, but she lived the part of her life she didn't really get to live along with me. So yes, your art, if you had an artist in a past life, they're probably in there messing with you. And should you do anything differently? No, you had a good life at that. You planted your seeds well. You didn't always pick the best friends. You didn't always pick the happiest group of folks to be with, but artists are like that. And in this life, you've come in with no delusions. There's a part of you that doesn't want to share what you know how to do. And you need to free that in your soul, because that's what your happiness is. So there's some style of painting you've resisted doing because you already did that once and you didn't end up in the best of spaces, but you had a great life. So I think if I were you looking at this, and I'm seeing a woman in an art group in England, and you were a woman and you were painting in England in the early 1800s. And what you should be doing differently is just when your brush says, go this way, go this way, go this way, try all the mediums you want, or try every kind of medium you could, even if it's not painting, whatever kind of art you're pursuing, you're going to find it. It's there in your soul. Let's see. Fortune's going to change. Yeah, don't measure yourself by the critics, the people who don't do it, and don't measure it by the fact that you've had trouble selling it. Measure it by what makes you happy, and you'll be able to turn that wheel of fortune around. Okay, I hope that helps, Silky Pink Rose. And if any of these things hit you the right way, put it in the comments so I can see them later, because I have things set up so I can see all the comments later, especially when I'm doing it this way. Okay. Millie Fairy, very nice name. May I have a past life reading, please? Yes, right now. See a past life for Millie Fairy. Well, you picked a good life this life. And you had a good, you know what you are? You know the past life that affects you most was the one that was the happiest for you. And there's a lot of people who always think, oh, my past life, I have to make up for something I did wrong. No, you've come in to show us who didn't always have the happiest past lives how to deal with them. And this is your past life. You lived in a place where you had good judgment. A lot of things rose up out of that life that helped you. You didn't get depressed and you kept everything balanced, which is sort of perfect. And I do see you. I think you were in the Celtic Catholic Church, which if you don't know what that is, they were like Greek Orthodox in that they ruled their ceremonies by the moon. And in 1100, there was you may even have been at Whitby, but you were a woman cleric, abbess that knew how to run your place, and you did a great job. And you have come back in this time to show other women how to be powerful women because you just carry that in you genetically. And this time you've had a happy background, and this may not always have been your family, but there have always been people around you who kept you safe. You're on the right side of the Wheel of Fortune, and you're the Page of Wands. You know how to spread the message of how to be happy, and it's made you have a happy life. You also have 2 10s here. This may be your last trip through if you choose to not come back. But you're here to show all those people who have had, it's like you had a marvelous life then. You were a good leader. You learned how to do it, and you ended up in a male-dominated society, but you started out in the Celtic Church, which was men and women were treated equally within the church, and there were religious communities that were run by the abbess, not the abbot, as you know the difference. And you were devout, you loved that world, and you brought that vibration into this world, and you when you want to turn it on, you can make it work, and you're kind of happy. So if you wonder, how come my past lives, when I think about past lives, they seem happy? They can be. It's not required that you suffer in misery and die in a ditch. Although I've read those people too, and it's not much fun. Okay, we're going on to Tammy. Tammy, I had a past life reading this past weekend, my 50th birthday of life. I'm just going to ask if that's a true reading, because I might not interpret the same vibrations as they did, but we're going to ask if you had a life in 1812. And I'll tell you the particulars that show up in the card. Happy 50th birthday. I think it was the early 1800s. I don't think that was exactly true. For some reason, they told you cut off your psychic powers, and maybe because you were a young man who was storming around trying to make a name for himself, you were dominated by your mother, and you had a problem picking goals for yourself. And eventually, when you could have moved on or moved away from a place that was stifling you, you didn't. That's what I see when I see a life around you in 1812. And this also kind of says it wasn't really 1812. It was like late 1700s. And you're speaking English, so you could have been in America, you could have been in the Bahamas, you could have been in England. So, okay. I have migrating. Oh, this one I'm going to read you the whole thing that I have on the paper. I have had a weird question. I wonder if it related to past life. I have a migrating patch of dry skin. I say migrating because for a time it was only on both sides of my ankle bones and about a quarter size patch. Then it went dry, flaky skin that resisted all efforts to exfoliate, moisturize, etc. Was there probably 5 years or so. When it cleared up, it immediately reappeared on both my knees. Just little patches under both my knee, under my kneecap. So she means the front of her knee, not technically. You wouldn't know it was there. It was under her kneecap. That stuck around for a few years. As soon as that cleared up, it magically reappeared in larger patches, about 2/4 size, on my left elbow. It's mystifying to me. I have no other skin condition. It never spreads. It's not particularly bothersome. Just a random dry patch. The weird thing is, as soon as a little patch clears up, it pops up somewhere else. The only explanation I can think of, it's a past life remnant. My hygiene has not changed. I hope it's changed if your past life was in certain years of history. But I think you mean in this life. I keep myself clean, nourished, and hydrated. Any thoughts? Well, we're going to look and see if your dry skin is a matter of like past life wounds that are re-showing themselves or something like that. You guys do give me the most interesting problems to look at. I don't think it's from a past life. I can tell you it's from something that angers your body right now. I think it's fading away and going away. This could be a doctor. And I think this is just saying no. It's not from you got this is no, 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 no. So you got 4 no's, 2 yeses. What I think it is from is an allergy. And what happens is your body fights it off and then it goes to the next place where it can show up. Random body allergies are weird when they're on your skin. And sometimes they're really hard to diagnose. I had some show up this year during allergy season. Allergy season didn't affect my lungs because I worked really hard on my lungs and I have to work on my skin. Okay. I would love a past life reading. I have a feeling it would clear up some questions I've had for a long time. Thank you. Well, I will do my best, Linda. If you really want to solve or look hard at a problem, the best past life readings you can do are to do an individual one when, I haven't seen anything today that was absolutely terrible, but I've had them show up in the public chat. And I could not begin to tell the person that hell that they went through in a public chat. So let's see. Let's look at a Linda past life that can help her. Okay. Oh dear. This is the past life. And you were in an unhappy marriage. It had all the money you could ever want. And you were you were set up for life. So that's the past life I see. In this life, you still have craved, that past life carried forward the mission of how to balance your life so that you don't get so stuck. In that case, in that life, it was money. Don't get so stuck with money that you don't see everything. Now, you can make some pretty good choices, and this is the bridge of destiny. But when it's been time to move on from certain situations, if you were too comfortable, you didn't move on, and you stayed tied to wanting to hold on to the coins and things. And I'm going to concentrate here for a minute on when that first past life was. The past life I see here, I don't know. Have you ever been drawn to things in Georgian England? Be Georgian England or Renaissance France. It's very, very elaborate, very ornate. You may be drawn. You're either drawn one of two ways to things that are extremely simple, almost like Scandinavian modern, or you like the clunky chests and the Rococo sort of carvings and things. They remind you of that life. You were comfortable there, but you weren't with people that made you happy. So this life's a choice about, do I make choices that make me happy? And I'm going to see, this is actually, I take it back on him. This means you've rejected some materialism because you do remember being materially tied to things. And you're proud of yourself when you do that, but it's really hard for you to move on. So I'm going to see what this is about. Yeah, this is someone who's holding on to things too tightly, and you want to break the rules, and you don't want to live in the emperor's rules, but you think that that costs you. So we're going to see what we're going to do about him. Okay, this makes sense. This is a judgment for you, is to cast off the things that burden you and take the risk of not having all the rewards of being there, and take the odd offer. I think if someone came out of the blue and offered you something right now, you might be open to it, but you really have to think it through. Because when he's sitting like this, when he's sitting right side up, he's getting good offers, but he's like, I don't know. There's kind of a lot of lethargy in that. I think in the near future, you're going to move on. And this especially, the 10 of Wands is, this guy's sort of like, okay, I've dumped my wands, I'm moving on. And he may be even trying to sow new seeds out of those old wands, but he's not carrying them like a clump on his shoulder anymore. So your problem has been recently a hesitancy to move on, because you remember this cushy life, and you'll put up with a lot of discontent in your life before you'll move on. But you were living in a very ornate period of time in history. I just see like tapestries around you and rich fabrics and things like that. And no reason not to like those things, but if that becomes your lifestyle and then you don't move on to the next thing that doesn't promise that, that means you're not trusting the universe to take care of you. And it's trying to. Really is. Okay, I read Willow Breeze, and she was a Native American, and many lives, I remember that, in which you made your own natural remedies. And she wants to know if I can see any more about that life. I'll try, but Spirit does what Spirit wants to do. And I can talk to it nicely, but I can't make it behave. You today, you got your own strength, you've got your own. Girl, I don't know why you're asking me. You've got this life together. This is the past life, and you were not an outcast, and you worked well with people, but you didn't learn everything you needed to know or wanted to know, but you did work a lot within your tribe. You were happy and contented. I think you'd be happier if we weren't in the kind of competitive society that we're in. But your life right now is, you have all the strength you need. You have all the inner wisdom you need. You have all of the ambition and the understanding and how to pull all the tools together. And you're very capable of walking away from battles. So I think keep chugging on like you're chugging. The only leftover you really don't hardly have any regrets from those past lives, except each life you come in to learn new things, to find new spiritual paths to work with. And you're a healer, and you're here as a healer, and Lord knows this planet needs some healing right now. So that's all I can kind of tell you. Okay. Oh, yeah, this lady slid in under the bell. She put it in 15 minutes before I picked up. Sorry, Kelly's not here. I don't know where she is. I would love to know something about a past life that would help me in this one. Thanks. Okay. That's usually the reason we want to know past lives. Now, I'm going to tell you, when I first learned how to do past lives, I was always afraid that people would latch on to the most miserable sob story from their past, and they would run with that, and they wouldn't listen to the solutions. And the cards don't want to shuffle. I will keep going till they do. I know another reader that was having problems getting cards to shuffle yesterday. Watched his show, and it was very good. Okay. Let's see, what past life can bring helpful things for Barbara Odom? Oh, well, I don't know why you're worried about past life telling you anything. This one's doing pretty good. In your past life, you gave and shared emotions with people. You created a warm, sharing environment with them, but you could be a bit of a Queen of Swords with your sharp tongue. So there's one thing you need to learn from that past life, and I think you've learned it because you've come in this time open, ready for whatever happened to move through it. It took you a while to find your base and people, but I think you're into your people now. And whatever you choose to do, you can do it very well. And you are a very good presenter of the information you know. So if you have an opportunity to share the energy from him, the Knight of Cups, that will be helpful to you. And try to do it with a little more diplomacy than you did it in your last life. So with that, I am going to go over to the questions, and this is where not having a sidekick becomes a problem. Okay. I'm going to go up and thank you, Bathrobe, Danny Shea. I'm looking at all this. Y'all are saying hi to each other, which is always kind of fun. Barbara Odom has purple hair like me. And I was dressing as, she had the sword and the stone. Well, no wonder you like swords. You're queen of, oops, I'm going to do this where I'm talking to you from the right camera. She's the queen of swords. She's already picked that for her Halloween costume. I guess we're right on about that. Let's see where we'll go next. I had some people first in that wanted to know if I could, hide Kurt Cohen. I also talk to myself when I run shows, guys. I hate to tell you. Okay, we're back up at the top. And Carolyn Adams wanted a past life reading, and she snuck on in the chat before we were really on. So, let's see. These are really quick past life readings, guys. If you do a long one, it makes a lot more sense. And I mean, this can give you a glimmer, and you can actually, when you go to bed tonight, ask your dreams to bring in images from the past life you saw today. And it should help you, unless there's some reason you shouldn't see those images. Oh, crap. Okay. Got to go back to the other camera because I really want to break loose and buy the money to do StreamYard on 2 cameras, but it's $500, guys. And I just don't have that kind of money lying around right now. So we'll see. Maybe I will do that one day. So this is Carolyn Adams' past life. I'm going to put them like this. No, that's too hard for me to follow. Graphing it out in my head. Oh, this life for you is a complete transition. You're going through a whole lot, Carolyn, that is going to make you change the whole directions you've had in past lives before. This is the sharp-tongued woman and the woman who will deceive and is just nasty, nasty. And I can say about the Queen of Swords because it's my card. And she spent that whole life just trying to avoid conflict and, separated everyone from her. She lived a very isolated life. This was her card at the bottom, the Emperor reversed. She didn't invite many people in. So in this life, what you came in was you wanted to be with a happy family, with people that loved you. You wanted to get away from depression, and you wanted to have love your whole life, which is a complete transition. This woman had one miserable life. And I think you knew when you did your soul checkup, when you go across the other side, when you do your life check, that you just screwed this all up. You did, because you always wanted to go. You didn't want to face the challenge. You didn't want to follow the rules. It's almost medieval Europe, kind of in that transition point. Anyway, you were a madam and you used a lot of other people to make you money, and you didn't care what havoc it caused, and you didn't live by any of the rules. So this lifetime you came in, look what a lovely life you created. A happy family. You didn't want to cause anybody pain. You only want to spread love, and you're making it in this life, Carolyn. So you're doing the polar opposite of what the past life was. But I really do see you kind of in a, like almost a city that looked like York. And that could be in England or it could be on the continent, but that's where you were. And so art is currently a passion for me. I've enjoyed it. Have I enjoyed a past life as an artist? Well, I already told you about my past life as an artist and how I carried it forward. No, it's not too early. You got in on time, Mimi, because I'm going to cut this off at the hour because I need to. I'm still not 100%. And I'm really tired of hearing out of one ear, so y'all can send me as much love and light as you can and aim it at my right ear. My left ear is doing fine. I've been to the doctor. They already told me it's not an infection. So it's one of those things that happens. Yeah, I'm going to ask yes, no, as the artist being part of your life. Okay, it was your passion and you wanted to master it. You were not allowed to. That's why it's hitting you so hard. It's starting up now because your past lives where you weren't allowed to be an artist, now you're getting an opportunity to do it. And that what you didn't enjoy not being able to do your art. So now it's all of a sudden bursting out of your soul and saying, I'm here. It's me. It's Mimi. Okay, now go to the next one. Okay, let me go to the banners. And I hate it when my banners won't go away. Okay. Let's see, question. Okay, let's see if we can find for Wiki which past life is most impacting her current life. Which past life is affecting her right now? Okay. The past life that's most, well, what I see in this past life is you didn't ever get anything you wanted that you thought you wanted, but you had a very kind, loving man in your life, except he didn't fulfill all your wishes. And it was really not a bad life. So you came into this life sort of looking for somebody who was a bit stronger. You got a male influence, and I think these both are fathers. You got a father who pushed you along. He made you strong, but he pushed you into some kind of profession you didn't want to be in. This man would never have pushed you into anything you didn't want to do. And you chose to not do what you could have done in that life. In this life, you've been pushed into not doing what you want to do. So let's see what we're going to do about that. Okay, by the end of this winter, you're going to have found some skill that you really, really wanted to focus on in your life. And you're going to take that sword out of all the experiences you've had in your life and you're going to polish it up and you're going to make it work. And it's going to work out to the benefit for you spiritually, value-wise as well. And it's going to lead you to a 10. You got 2 10s there. So you're going to have a lot of changes going on, but it's going to be a good thing for you. That's what's impacting your current life. This funny shift you feel inside yourself to stand on your own 2 feet and speak up for yourself is because I don't think your dad in this life meant to do anything wrong. I just think that he didn't think about who you were when he said, you're going to go here. Hello, Dr. Gail. I've done borrowed them. Sword and Stone. She's dressing as a mad madam. I can't believe that. That's really good. I mean, Halloween is a day to try on a different soul. Could I get a past life? Karma, find out the karma which I need to heal. It's affecting my current life. Okay. It's a lot to get out of 7 cards. I can give you a direction and point you in it, but it means you're going to have to do some more work on your end. I can't just say do this and it will go away or magically fix. Okay. In a past life, you had everything. I mean, you had the world stood at your feet, but you didn't value it and you didn't use your talents to the best of your abilities. So you came into this life, and this was in the last 150 years, this life that you walked away from, that you didn't walk away from, you died. I mean, you did everything you could do there. So now what you've got is this bridge of despair, and you're trying to avoid being on the bridge of despair. You try to avoid everything that could cause you mix up and trauma. You need to put yourself through that. That's the karma you need to heal, averting trauma, because you have the possibilities within this life, because this one was so complete, to really pull it together and finish the karma. The only karma you have left is you're building it up in this life by avoiding things that are difficult, avoiding making hard decisions. This is shining up. You have some innate skill that you brought in from that life, and you've ignored it and you fought it and you're trying to avoid it, and you need to bring it in. You have some talent that we need now, and it's your choice if you want to deal with it or not, but that's what I would read. I hope that makes sense. I'm not sure I'm making sense, but sometimes my readings when I feel like I don't make sense. Thank you for sending me ease and grace and a quick recovery. It would be most pleasant at this point. Let's see where we're going, because we got about 7 minutes left. If you didn't put your questions in bold, I'm not focusing well, guys, so you're probably going to get passed over if you put a question in there. Nope, we're all still saying hi to each other still. Look. This lady with the... Okay. I already read your question, Christine, about your skin patch, and I think it sounds more like allergies. I don't think it's scars. It didn't feel like it was a wound from the outside. So if you go back and listen, if you didn't hear it, I think you probably should have if you're here. Okay. Do I have anything that I still need to do now that I have finished figuring out what my past lives were? Okay, first of all, is Debbie in command of her past life energy? It's a good place to start. Nice for people to see. If you work at it on your own, you can do that. Yes and no. You've got most of the problems together. Maybe your skill is, if you figured out how to pull in past lives and heal them, to spread that knowledge to other people or to share it with people so that they understand it, that would be lovely. But no, I don't see anything big for you. I think you're right. Okay. Okay. Have you been a stonemason in a past life? Do that as a yes, no. I'm presuming someone told you that once and you like working with stone. I like working with stone, but I don't like carving them. Janice Maxwell. I don't think you were a stonemason. I think you've been a woman most of your past lives. And let's see. So I'm going to see if I can lay out cards and see what you have been. Because let's see what other past life, what other you're doing. Oh. You've always been a crafts person, a person that works with crafts, but what I sense is you work more with wood than anything else. You didn't make a lot of money. You weren't among the Masons. You could bring people together, though. You worked collegially with groups. I think you were a soldier once and you didn't like that at all. And I think you're ready to move forward in the skill and crafts you already have. I don't know what they told you about being a Mason. If they may have seen you working in a cathedral. What I saw was you working up in the timbers. You created the timbers that were up in were the foundation of the cathedral. So that's also a skilled tradesperson. And they worked with the Masons, but I don't see you doing, it said no to being a stonemason. It said yes to being a skilled artisan. So now you can pick, do you like wood or you like stone? Okay, let's see. Let's see if for Rossi, if there's any past lives in Egypt. And then I think that's going to be about it. I know there are people beyond here that have questions, but I really have to call it, guys. Thank you for joining me. I won't have another reading day on my channel until the 31st. Okay, life in Egypt. Okay, I like your black cat. We have a black cat in our household called Ua. He was called Ua because he was found by a Hawaiian person in a Texas neighborhood, and he was found in the middle of a horrible thunderstorm, and Ua means hurricane. Okay. This is the past life. And you were very successful in that past life, and you managed to avoid a lot of the problems. You had no illusions or delusions about the people you were living with. And in this life, though, you wanted to come into a more free and open society where you could move and make your own decisions about what you wanted to do. The only problem with this society is sometimes when you do that, you don't always end up in the most comfortable of living situations or the most comfortable situations, but you've still come out of it completely whole and very psychically connected. So looking at what this says, you were comfortable in a very rigid, I was born in this part of the society, I'm going to stay in this part of society. But this time when you came in, you wanted to make choices for yourself. And you've picked it up, moved several times, but you're still spiritually in good strength. So, okay. So just saying. Okay. I'm glad all of you are here. I'm glad we've stayed around 43 to 48 people watching, which is pretty good. And let me see if there's anything down here further in the chat. Thank you, Danny. He's a sweetie. And Karen and the other ones, I'll catch you later. I would not be doing you any favors reading in your past life at this point. I think that I need to go take my cold medicine, which I avoided doing before I did the show so that I wasn't fuzzed with cold medicine. I see people thinking they were on the Titanic, lots of other things, you know. And Janice Maxwell suggests getting rid of your skin issues because it could be gluten. That could be true. I think, Vicki, I think you're right. It is Vernon that's around you because that's a kind of thing I can see in my head. And I always forget to check community page. One of my questions. Let's see. Yeah, hearing loss is frustrating beyond measure. Even, and they're like, well, you can go get fit for hearing aids now. And I'm like, and yeah, you're right. You'll be drawn to watch on history where you were. That's kind of an impression I've gotten from talking to people over time. I'm going to do... Kelly and I had another past life reading, I think, scheduled for early November. I'm going to my calendar just in case I can find it. Be the 2nd. It's not the 2nd of November. It's not the 9th of November. I think this was the last of the ones we were going to do together. So that we planned out for a while. Anyway, the full moon with the eclipse on it is going to be over the U.S. at approximately 4:45 on 10/28 on Saturday. There's a lot of eclipse energy. That's no joke. Go look at some of the readers. Dorothy Morgan's done a really good series on the chaos in the sky. Thank you, Wiki. And it's chaos up there, guys. I've studied enough astrology to be dangerous, and I wouldn't interpret for anyone, but I can see a mess when I see it. But I will be on next Tuesday, so, and I'll have my cards out ready to go to anywhere. So maybe I'll do pendulums, maybe I'll do past lives. We'll just see, because I wish I could say I had a slow weekend, but I don't. I've got class tomorrow at noon for the 5th week of my tarot class. It's going really well. They can read the cards now when they get enough confidence and decide to. And I will, and I'm sorry. I kind of screwed Kelly up. I gave her the wrong time in the first place. And then when we realized that this morning, we thought we had it all straightened out. But I love you, Kelly. Sorry you couldn't be here. It's much easier to do when you're here. And I really want to thank everyone in the community that's here supporting me. And remember, in 1692, they missed one, and I'm the one they missed, my family. It's actually kind of true. My family was in the United States, what's now the United States, before the Revolution. But my family, unfortunately, had a plantation in Virginia, and they were loyalists. And so they got kicked to Canada. They got kicked to this one part of Canada on my dad's side of the family. So they've been over here a long time, so they could have been burning me up. Who knows? You to have a good weekend and enjoy Halloween. I will be here on Halloween Day. I don't know if I'll be doing a show about Halloween, but I will be doing a show about something. Take care. Bye.